Hello, good day, everyone. I am Jackie Valencia, the leader of Group 2, and we're about to report the work and employment. Next slide, please. Okay, to introduce my team, ayun. Una-una, Femerson Duque, Janelle Enriquez, Dave Manuyag. Next slide, please. Marian Patak, and Mark Adrian Peñano. Siyempre, yung last is ako. So, yun. So, this to start our report, kung sino ba nyo naka-assign, please. Take the stage.
So now, yeah, kanila. So overview of our report is nakahati po ito sa tatlo. First is the nature of work. Kami po ni Janelle dito. Then next is the employment of relationship, which is Patak, Marian, and Jackie Valencia po. Then the last is the psychological contract, which is si Duque and si Manuel. Next slide po. So ayan, the nature of work by me and Enriquez. So what is work? The text outlines the multi-faced reasons why people work beyond just earning a living. Work provides not only financial benefits, but also personal satisfaction, such as sense of achievement, recognition, and the opportunity to develop skills and build relationships. So within organization, the nature of work and employees' feelings about it are shaped by the employment, relationship, and the psychological contract. So, ayan, ang work is not only just parang nag-earn ka lang talaga ng pera para mabuhay ka. Meron din mga tao na perspective nila is nagkakaroon sila ng personal satisfaction pag nagtatrabaho sila. Yun din, meron din sila para mga gusto na makuwang achievement or recognitions. Tapos, especially magandang factor is yung opportunity to develop skills. Kasi magkakaroon ka pa ng additional skills pag nagtrabaho ka dun sa designated na work na gusto mo. Lastly is yung magkakaroon ka ng relationships towards sa mga employees na makakasalamuha mo. So the chapter begins by summarizing various theories of work. It then discusses organizational factors influencing work, including the concepts like lean and flexible organizations, shifts in work patterns, and the impact of unemployment. Then career development, lastly, is the changing attitudes to work. So ayan, mga theories yung itatakil namin ni Janelle. So, ayan, yung theory na una is labor process theory. Next is the agency theory and the exchange theory. So, dito naka-reference kami sa pluralist and unitary explains na naka-consider. Next slide, please. Go, Janelle.
Next slide, please. So, the first theory is labor process theory, formulated by Karl Marx, suggests that capitalists exploit workers by paying less than their value, alienating them and reducing them to mere tools for profit. Braverman expanded on this theory, linking it to Taylorism. Next slide, please. So critics argue that the labor process control is influenced by technological advances, worker resistance, and market conditions. Despite criticisms, Newton and Findlay defend labor process theory, arguing it effectively explains management control over workers. So it is explained here that they argue that labor process theory provides a useful framework for understanding how management is able to manipulate workers to be more productive and maximize their profits. And they argue then that labor process theory still provides an accurate picture of how management exercises control over workers and how it extracts surplus value from labor. Go ahead, Mr. Mark.
So the next theory is agency theory. So agency theory passes the principles such as owners and managers must develop methods to monitor and control their agents or staff to ensure that they fulfill their responsibilities. The theory highlights the challenges principals face in ensuring that agents comply with directives, emphasizing the need to set clear objectives and monitor performance to achieve desired outcomes. So, ayan, ang agency theory po is excuse me. Ang agency theory po is, ayan, nag-control siya ng mga staff or agents na sa company to have a better full responsibilities towards that company. Nagbibigay sila ng rewards or mga punishment to para ma-encourage yung employee na to do better. Pero yung agency theory is na-criticize siya for one-sided perspective by Sir Gomez Mejia and Balkin. Nag-argue sila so overly managerial daw kasi yung agency theory na nag-focus lang siya solely in management viewpoint and treating employees as objects. That's right, objects po, to be controlled through rewards and punishments. So ayun naman kay Armstrong naman daw is it is described as pessimistic theory that implies employees cannot be trusted. Pessimistic po is parang think lagi is worse, ganun. And kaya parang naano yung mga employees na hindi to katiwa-tiwala. Next slide po.
So the next theory is exchange theory. These concepts help to explain why people behave the way they do in organizations by understanding what motivates them, what causes them, and how they compare the outcome to their expectations. And this helps organizations understand how to motivate their employees and how to set realistic goals. And exchange theory, it consists of 4 concepts. First, the rewards. This is important part of organizational behavioral because they motivate employees to strive for better performance. They are an important part of the organizational system as they help to maintain the employee morale and job satisfaction. And second is the cost. And these costs naman are not tangible, but they are very real. They can include lost time with friends and family, missed educational opportunities, and decreased job satisfaction. And third is the outcomes. And this is the idea that if the outcomes gained from an interaction are greater than the cost it incurred, then that interaction is profitable and should be continued. And last is the level of comparisons. People are more likely to comparison shop if the outcome is more valuable to them than the cost of seeking it out. For example, if someone is shopping to buy a new car and is considering 2 different cars, they are more likely to comparison shop if the cost of both cars is similar but the quality of one is significantly better. Next slide, please. Go ahead, Mark.
Unitary and surrealist frames of reference. So, human resource management often aims to boost employee commitment by aligning their work objectives with the organizational values and goals. This approach, known as the unitary perspective, assumes that organizations are harmonious and tight entities where all employees share common goals and work together as unified team. Unit is described by Generard and Judge. So, ang unity, to be exact, you all know unity naman kasi, di ba? Parang to have people unite, to have those same goals, same perspective, na makakagawa sila ng harmonious entities nga daw by Generard and Judge. And ayun, kaya when you have unity, you can all have the same goal to achieve that goal to your company's growth. So in contrast, kabaligtaran naman dito is the Flores perspective articulated by Cyrus and March. It views organization as coalitions of diverse interest groups, each with its own legitimate values and objectives, while organizational development programs often focus on fostering commitment and teamwork under a unitary framework. This approach has been criticized as managerialist din daw yung etong unitary and frames of reference kasi nag-overlook siya sa legitimate interests of other stakeholders with a pluralist society. Next slide po.
Organizational factors affecting work. So, the nature of work evolves as organizations adapt to new demands and environmental pressures. Changes such as business process engineering, downsizing, and delayering significantly impact the nature of work, affecting job types, employee security, and career opportunities. These changes naman is in the nature of work are driven by the advances in technology, globalization, and competition. Companies are looking for ways to reduce costs, improve efficiency, and increase productivity, and these changes are often reflected in the way they structure their workforce. And also, there are three key factors influencing these changes. And what is that? Mark, go ahead.
So the three key factors is the lean organization. Lean organization is ayan nagpo-focus siya sa efficiency by minimizing the waste and streamlining processes, often leading to job reductions and altered workflows. So kumbaga parang nagtitipid dito ganyan, nagtitipid sila to have those what do you call this? Basta process to leading job reductions thing. And next is the changing role of the process worker. So workers are increasingly expected to be more versatile, taking multiple tasks or organization seeks to optimize productivity. Next is the flexible firm. Organizations are adopting more flexible structures, often resulting in a workforce that includes a mix of permanent, temporary, and contract workers, which can affect job stability and career progression. So, i-discuss naman namin to para mas mapalawak pa. Next slide po, please.
So we have the lean organization, lean production popularized by Womack and Jones in 1970 originated in the car industry with Toyota, aiming to minimize waste in materials, time, space, and people. Techniques like just-in-time, supply chain management, and zero defects are integral to lean production. The concept has expanded to non-manufacturing organizations, often leading to downsizing and delayering. There is no standard model for a lean organization, but organizations choose methods such as team-based work, shop floor empowerment, and quality integration and horizontal processes, supplier partnerships also, and cross-functional teams and HR policies. And these techniques helps to streamline processes, reduce lead times, and increase the efficiency of the entire organizations. They also help to create a culture of collaboration and problem solving, which is essential for any successful organizations. Next slide po.
So ayan, the IPD report emphasizes that sustainable qualitative change through people is crucial in lean working. So pinaka din talaga sa lean working po is yung IPD report kasi dun mo makikita yung qualitative change ng mga baka bagay-bagay na hinahandle ng HR practitioners. HR practitioners they manage these roles to change, including support and interpreting, championing, and anticipating problems po. So, despite the potential benefits ng lean, meron din itong mga negative effects sa mga employees, particularly when they involve downsizing and re-engineering. So, sa employees may experience longer hours or increased stress, fewer career opportunities, and lower morale. Kasi nga, di ba nagbabawas ka? Kaya nga parang maapektuhan lalo yung mga employees na natira. So, Perser et al. Questions whether lean organizations are inherently mean, noting that many initiatives fail due to neglecting the human implications and resistance from middle management. So, ayun lang, next slide.
Next slide, please. So we have the changing role of the process worker. The Institute of Employment Studies 1997 report reveals that technological advancement and competitive pressures are changing the role of process workers. As automation increases, low-skill manual jobs are decreasing, leading to a shift towards overseeing processes, emphasizing customer and business orientation, and performing basic engineering and maintenance tasks. This means that Process workers needs to be able to think critically and analytically, as well as possess problem-solving skills. They also need to be able to communicate effectively with customers and colleagues, as well as be proficient in the use of technology. Next, please.
So the next firm is the flexible firm. The flexible firm is introduced by Atkinson. It describes a growing trend where companies take different forms of flexibility in their operations and structure. Iyon, nahahati sa three key types ng flexibility to are identified. First is functional flexibility. So, in functional flexibility, employees are redeployed between tasks quickly and efficiently, often requiring multi-skilling where workers possess a range of skills across different areas such as mechanical and electrical engineering. So, to be exact, flexibility, you all know naman na flexibility is ganyan, multitasking, multi-skilling. Ma-encounter niyo yung functional flexibility, especially dun sa mga mechanical and electrical engineering. So next is numerical flexibility naman po is it is the companies adjust the number of employees and respond to short-term changes in labor demand, enabling them to scale the workforce up or down as needed. Para lang lean siya. Kasi, ayun, nagbabawas din ng mga tao-tao, nagdadagdag. Parang, like the example na binigay ni Sir na nakaraan is, HR handle people, di ba? Kaya parang mamimili ka kung, ay, parang nag-encode na to tapos may mag-encode ulit dito. Parang magbabawas ka kasi may nag-encode na, di ba? Tama, yun. Next is the financial flexibility. It pays levels are adjusted based on labor market conditions. And flexible pay systems are used to support both functional and numerical flexibility. So, financial flexibility, pinaka-basic na ano dito, na explanations kasi by financial, it pays, di ba? It pays the systems nagpo-focus siya sa functional and numerical flexibility kasi mas supportahan niya ito kasi we all know that we need money, di ba? Yan. In the flexible firm structure, the workforce is divided into stable core group and more flexible peripheral groups. Nahati siya sa two groups. So, the unang group is the core group focuses on key firm-specific activities and functional flexibility. Nag-enjoy siya sa job security insulated from market fluctuation. So, dito, mas nagpo-focus sila sa job security insulated. Next is dong peripheral groups providing numerical flexibility, nag-expand to contract based on market demand. So, kaya market demand, mas nakikita to ng mga ng market. So, naka-left talaga dito yung job security dahil nga may exposure yung market changes. Next po.
Next is the changing patterns of work. Over the past decade, the workforce has undergone significant changes with an increase in part-time workers, increased outsourcing, and a growing demand for specialists and professionals. Companies are downsizing and engaging workers on short-term contracts, focusing on immediate contributions to organizational goals. This shift has led to the diminished concept of job security and lifelong careers, with employees now prioritizing career advancement and employability, seeking new opportunities for better growth. So this trend has been driven by the need to remain competitive in an ever evolving market, which is where the companies need to be able to quickly adjust their workforce and strategies para makapit sila dun sa pagbabagong kailangan nilang gawin. And that means also that companies need to be able to quickly hire and fire employees, which has led to an increase in short-term contracts and temporary roles. Next po, please. Next slide, please. So the rise of the mobile worker is another key trend, with more people working from various locations like home, office, or on the move. This shift requires new management approaches where control may be exerted by engaging workers' commitment and creating a culture of productivity even from a distance. The boundaries between work and leisure time are becoming increasingly blurred, emphasizing personalized time over personalized space. It says here that this shift also presents new challenges for employers in terms of tracking productivity and managing teams remotely. And companies have to adjust their approach to employee performance management and employee engagement, as well as develop new technology and tools to facilitate remote collaboration. Next po. Mark, go ahead.
So, ayan, unemployment. We all know unemployment naman, di ba? So, sa unemployment, economists disagree on the causes and solutions for unemployment. And yet, unemployment is a big problem talaga dito sa atin, sa lahat. So, ayan, may mga theory tayo nakahanda for unemployment to have explanation or solution. So, Keynesian theory, it suggests that firms demand too little labor because individuals are not buying enough goods. So, kaya nagkakaroon ng unemployment daw based on Keynesian theory is kasi nagsasuggest ng mga demand na onti lang naman yung mga kailangan na labor dito eh. Kaya magtanggal ka na lang ng ibang tao. Ganun. Next is the classical view. It argues that unemployment is voluntarily and can be resolved by natural market forces. So, ayan, hindi naman kasi lahat ng mga tao is parang gustong-gusto magtrabaho. Kaya voluntary yung unemployment. Lastly is the neoclassical theory. It proposes a natural rate of unemployment based on technology, preference, and endowments. It asserts that with flexible wages in competitive markets, wages will adjust to eliminate unemployment. So, di ba kasi naman, wala namang tatanggi sa pera, di ba? Kaya kapag mas mataas yung wages talaga, mas ma-encourage yung mga tao na magtrabaho. Kaya para mas may iwasan daw yung unemployment. Pero, yung mga remaining unemployment being voluntary, hindi mo talaga maaano sa kasi choice na nila talaga maging unemployment, di ba? So, this view, endorsed by Milton Friedman, it influenced early in 1980s government policy but did not prove successful. Hindi pa rin siya nag-successful yung theory niya. So, in summary, walang theory na nag-provide ng straightforward or explanation o solution para sa unemployment. Next slide po, please.
Attitudes to work. When we say attitudes to work, we mean the way people interact and feel about their job. This also includes their motivations, enthusiasm, and willingness to put effort into their work, as well as their willingness to take on new challenges they face. And here's the research by the Institute of Personnel and Development, or IPD, on employee motivation and the psychological contract reveal the following. First, work is still a central interest for most people. Second, if they won the lottery, 39% would quit their jobs, but most would continue working. And third, when asked about their top job priorities, 70% of respondents cited pay, 62% wanted interesting and varied work, and only 22% prioritized job security. And lastly, 35% of respondents felt they were already working as hard as possible, while an additional 34% reported working very hard. This indicates that while pay and job security are important, they are not as important as interesting and varied work. Additionally, respondents may feel like they are already working as hard as they can, and an additional 34% are working very hard. Next slide po.
So, ayan, job-related well-being naman tayo. So, in 2004, Workplace Employers Relationship Survey or WORST in 2005, nag-survey sila ng 21,624 employees across 700,000 workplaces, covering 22.5 million employees. At nahanap nila is employee feelings of tensions or calm were evenly distributed with similar percentage feeling tense or calm, some more of all the time. So, ayan, yung mga nafe-feel doon ng ibang employee based sa survey is it's either ba tension or calm. So, mas na ano yung calm. Mas nararamdaman ng mga tao is yung calm. Next is the significant proportion of employees reported being content all, most or part of the time, with 69% indicating contentment. So, ayan, about sa contentment dun sa work na pinapasukan niya, nasa 69% yung nag-i-indicate ng contentment. Next is the job-related well-being was generally higher in smaller organizations among union members and lower with increased education. So, mas mataas daw yung mga union members, tapos lower naman daw po is yung the increase of education. Lastly is the well-being showed a U-shaped distribution or yung most likely dun sa U-shaped distribution, with age being higher among younger and older employees compared to the middle-aged workers. So, yung most likely na distribution sa age is mas maano pa yung younger kasi sa mga older employees na naka-compare sa middle-aged workers. Next slide po.
So this is the table that shows the feeling of the employee on their work. So, and this is the end of our report about the nature of work. Next reporter, please.
So ayan, we are assigned the reporter here. The employment relationship. Next slide ako. The term employment relationship refers to the connections between employers and employees, both formal like contracts and informal like psychological contracts. Definition of employment relationship. The employment relationship encompasses the interaction and connections between employers and employees within an organizational context. It involves both formal and informal aspects, shaping work, how it conducted, and how individuals relate to their jobs and organization. Next is formal aspects, contracts. Formal employments contract outline terms such as job, responsibilities, compensations, working hours, and benefits. Legal agreements, these are contracts provided... Wait. Ate, hindi pa ako nag-next. Doon ka lang, stay ka lang. Okay, balik tayo sa legal agreements. These written contracts provide clarity and structures. Ang best example here is an employee signs a contract specifying their role, salary, and benefits. Ang next dyan is informal aspects, psychological contracts. These are unwritten, implicit expectation between employers and employees. Meron pa tayong papasok dyan na mutual expectation, where psychological contracts include trust, loyalty, and perceived fairness. Best example naman po dyan is yung employee expect careers growth opportunities while the employer expect commitment and dedication. Number 4, napapasok dito sa ating employment relationship, individual versus collective employment relations. Individual focuses on the unique connection between an employee and their employer. Personal contracts and expectation, papasok yun doon, and also the tailored to individual needs. Collective involves relationship beyond the individual level. Dito naman papasok po yung trade unions, staff association, or consultative bodies, negotiate terms. And also papasok din dyan yung balances power dynamics. Ang best example naman dyan is yung collective bargaining agreements where impacts working conditions for all employees in a unionized company. Yan lang. Next slide. So, ayun, ito naman yung graphs na lang yan ng nature of employment relationship. So, self-explanatory and siya kung paano siya nagpa-function. So, pa-next po. So, ayun, employment relationship. Okay. The employment relationship begins with an employee providing skill and effort in exchange for a salary wage, usually based on a legal contract. Dito, tayo dito, may ipapasok tayo na implied employment relationship. Ang definition nun is, the employment relationship is established when individual provides their skills and effort to an employer in exchange for compensation or salary or wage. Ang key points natin dito is itong pasok din yung legal context, implied terms, mutual expectations. Ang best example naman po dyan, hindi ko na po siya papahabaan, is an employee joins a software development company. Although there's no formal contract, both parties implicitly agree that the employees will contribute to projects and the company will pay a monthly salary. Papasok din po dyan, pangalawa, isang employer obligation. Papasok dyan yung wage payment, safe workplace, trust, and fairness. Tapos, ang pinaka-example naman po doon is, para maintindihan natin, an employer ensures workplace safety by providing proper equipment, training, and following safety protocols. Parang napoprovide dyan yung natin, pag-prevent natin ng mga something like yung magkakaroon tayo ng mga emergency something, ganun. So, number 3, papasok din syempre dyan yung employee obligations, where meron tayong mga key points na kinakailangan, like obedience. Employees must follow company policies, rules, and instructions. Ganoon naman po, di ba, pag pipirma tayo ng kontrata, meron tayo niyan na hindi nawawala. Also, yung competence. Employees should perform their job duties to the best of their abilities. Siyempre, ganoon yan, pagalingan para ma-promote tayo agad. Honesty. Employees must be truthful and transparent. In terms naman dito, ito yung mga papasok dyan yung mga attitude. Di ba? Yung mga nagsusumbong sa manager. Di ba, Mark? Charis. So, ayun. Nasa na tayo, tapos na ako sa honesty. Loyalty. Employees should act in the best interest of the organization. Ito loyalty, mostly naman dito, depende. Kung maganda yung offer ng company, nagtatagal sila. Kapag hindi, syempre, expect mo, aalis yan. So, ang best example dyan is, an employee adheres to deadlines, communicates openly, and maintains confidentiality. So, parang ayun nga, quality, dito kasi sa nature of the employment relationship, parang kinukuha natin kasi yung best of the best. Parang gano'n. So, papasok din dyan, syempre, last, power dynamics. Ang papasok naman sa power and dynamics, ang key points niyan is employee's power. Ano nga ba ang key points powers? Employer's power. Employers typically have more bargaining power in setting contract terms. Parang din yan, papasok din sa last kong sinabi kanina. Tuloy na lang natin. Collective bargaining, unions or employee association negotiate term, collectively balancing power. More on power pala talaga siya since power's dynamic. So last dito is yung legal protections. Labor laws protect employees from unfair practices. Ito nung nag-work ako sa Jollibee, muntikan ko to gawin. Charis, naabuso. Basta yun, dahil sa manager, share ko lang. Ang best example naman dito is yung ito. An employer unilaterally decides on working hours, benefits, and job responsibilities unless influenced by collective bargaining agreements. So parang ito yung iniiwasan, kaya pumasok yung labor law. Kasi kapag natawag nito, hindi naman porket goods kayo ng company, pag overwork ka na niya na hindi naman sa'yo okay. Like for example, basta in-extend yung hours mo, tapos na yung duty mo dapat. Overtime. So ayun, pinag-overtime ka pero hindi ka agree. So ayun. So yun next tayo. Sana na-gets nyo. So ayun, next slide. So basis of employment relationship. The employment relationship begins with an employee providing skill and effort in exchange for a salary wage, usually based on a legal contract. So papasok dito yung implied employment relationship. Ano nga ba yun? So ito, the employment relationship is established when an individual provides their skills and effort to an employer in exchange for compensation or salary wage. Parang nabanggit ito dun sa una, parang inulit lang. So parang ayun niya, syempre, magkatrabaho ka, babayaran ka nila. Papasok dito yung legal context, implied terms, mutual expectation. Medyo i-discuss ko lang siya kasi since importante siya. So ang legal context is, while a written contract is common, even without one, certain rights and obligation exist. So parang ayun, syempre kapag tumatanggap tayo ng contracts, dun pumapasok lahat ng mga policies and etc. Implied terms, these are unwritten expectation that both parties understand. Parang meron lang tong tawag nito, minsan kasi hindi naman na well detailed, parang may pumapasok lang doon na, okay, dapat ganito, ganyan, ganun. Parang, alam mo yun, to maintain something lang naman. Mutual expectation. Employers expect work performance while their employees expect fair treatment and compensation. Di ba, dito papasok yung tinatanong ka ng nag-i-interview sa'yo, yung HR, kung ano yung mga expectation salary mo, and as well as sasabihin nila kung ano yung mga expected mo na din na gagawin mo habang nagtatrabaho ka. Ito naman, onting hint is, an employee joins a software development company. Although there's no formal contract, both parties implicitly agree that the employee will contribute to projects and the company will pay a monthly salary. Parang yun, short agreement lang. Trabaho ka, babayaran ka. Ganun lang. Number 2 is employer obligation. Papasok din yan dito. Meron tayong wage payment, safe workplace, trust and fairness. Example na lang bibigay ko. Employers should treat employees fairly, transparently, with respect. So, ayun. Additionally, an employer ensure workplace safety, providing proper equipment, training, and following safety protocols. Parang ito, meron kayong team building something, may usapan kayo na ganito, ganyan. Okay, may something to improve, yun lang. Employee obligation, papasok din dyan yung yung parang sa kanina, obedience, competence, honesty, loyalty, and yung example niya is parang ganun lang din. An employee adheres to deadlines, communicates openly, and maintains confidentiality. So yun lang naman, wala nang ganong bago dyan. Next na tayo. Next. So ayun, significance. Akin pa ba itong significance? May akin pa to, no? So ayun, defining pala. Defining employment relationship, McNeil, 1885, and Rasu and Wade Benzoni, 1944, identify two types of employment contracts, which is transactional contracts and relational contracts. So, eto, basahin ko na lang yung definition nila. Yung sa transactional contracts is clearly defined, financially based on short term with specific performance requirements, and relational contracts, less defined, abstract, with open-minded membership and vague performance expectation. Additionally, the psychological contracts combined with transactional and relational aspects reflecting mutual expectation between employer and employee. To give you some more details, sa transactional contracts, papasok dito yung characteristics na clarity, short-term focus, specific performance requirements, financial base. So, ang example nito is a salesperson employment contract may specify monthly sales target, commission rates, and bonus criteria. If the salesperson meets this target, they receive an agreed upon compensation. Ito parang nare-receive lang naman nila yung di ba may ganun minsan, kapag nakakota kayo, meron kayong additional compensation. Pero hindi naman lahat ata nag-offer nun. So, depende talaga bago kayo mag-apply. So, dapat alam niyo yung mga ganun. In additional relational contracts, papasok naman dito yung characteristics na flexibility, vague performance expectations, trust cooperations. Best example naman dito is an employee working in a research and development role might have a relational contract. The employer values their creativity, problem-solving abilities, and long-term commitment of the organization. The specifics of their work may involve as project change. So parang ito naman, papasok dito yung mga yung mga biglaang something nyo dun sa work. Additionally, psychological contract, ang characteristics naman nito is yung same lang din halos, mutual expectation, subjective, dynamic. Ang best example naman dito is yung an employee may expect fair treatment, opportunities for growth, and supportive work environment. In return, the employer expect dedication, loyalty, and positive attitude. Most likely, itong ganitong treatment naman nare-receive lang ito ng may mga position like managers, ganyan. Hindi tayo nagiging bias. So, yun lang naman. Thank you. Next reporter, please. Pa-next na din ang slide.
Next is significance of the employment relationship concept. The concept of the employment relationship is significant to HR specialists because it governs much of what organizations need to be aware of in developing and applying HR processes, policies, and procedures. So, itong apat na nasa baba, ito yung mga need to be considered in terms of what they will or will not contribute to furthering a productive and rewarding employment relationship between all the parties concerned. The employment relationship concept holds significant implications for individuals, organizations, and society as a whole. First is individual well-being. Ito yung mga quality or kalidad of the employment relationship na direktang nakakaapekto sa employee well-being and sa influencing job satisfaction, motivation, and overall mental health. Next is organizational performance. Ito ay mahalaga para sa tagumpay ng isang organisasyon, yung isang positibo at produktibong relasyon sa pagtatrabaho. It foster employee engagement, reduce turnover o yung pag-alis sa trabaho, and enhance productivity. Third is economic growth. A healthy employment relationship contributes to economic growth by promoting productivity and competitiveness. Fourth is social stability. Fair and equitable employment relationship are crucial for social stability, reducing inequality and promoting social cohesion. Next. Next slide, please. So next is changes in the employment relationship. As noted by Gali et al. 1998 in their analysis of the outcome of their employment in breathing research program, while there have been shifts in the ways in which people are employed, the evidence for a major change in the nature of the employment relationship was much less convincing. But they did not note the following characteristic of the employment as revealed by the survey. Ito yung mga nasa baba. So, ito yung new forms of management, often based explicitly or implicitly on HRM principles and emphasizing individual contracts rather than collective bargaining. Next, there was some increase in tax discretion, but there was no evidence of a significant decline in managerial control. Indeed, in some important respect, control was intensified. Next, supervisory activity was still important. Next, integrative forms of management policy were centered on non-manual employees. Next, the great majority of employees continued to attach a high level of importance to the intrinsically motivating aspect of work. The higher the level of skill, the more people were involved with their work. Next, the raising of skill levels and the granting of increased discretion to employers are key factors in providing the quality of work experience. The last, high levels of commitment to the organization can reduce absenteeism and labor turnover, but there was no evidence that organizational commitment added anything over and above other organizational and task characteristics with regard to the quality of work performance. Next slide, please. Next slide. Balik ka doon sa managing the employment relationship.
Magsalita ka kasi, pre.
Managing the employment relationship. Managing the employment relationship refers to the process of cultivating a positive and productive relationship between employers and employees. It's a crucial aspect of running any successful organization. HR specialists can contribute to the development of a positive and productive employment relationship in the following ways. First is during recruitment interviews, present the unfavorable as well as the favorable aspects of a job in a realistic job review. In induction programs, communicating to new starters the organization's personnel, policies, and procedures and its core values, indicating to them the standards of performance expected in such areas as quality and customer service, and spelling out requirements for flexibility. Next is by issuing and updating employee handbooks that reinforce the messages delivered in inductions program. By encouraging the development of performance management process that ensure that performance expectations are agreed and reviewed regularly. By encouraging the use of personal development plans that spell out how continuous improvement of performance can be achieved mainly by self-managed learning, by using learning and development programs to underpin core values and define performance expectation. Next slide. Doon ulit sa managing the employment relationship. Sa pangalawa, bago niyan mag-trust. By ensuring through manager and team leader training that managers and team leaders understand their role in managing the employment relationship through such processes as performance management and team leadership. Next is by encouraging the maximum amount of contact between managers and team leaders and their team members to achieve a mutual understanding of expectations and to provide a means of two-way communication. Next is by adopting a general policy of transparency. By developing HR procedures covering grievance handling, discipline, and equal opportunities, promotion, and redundancy, and ensuring that they are implemented fairly and consistently. Developing and communicating HR policies covering the major areas of employment, development, reward, and employee relations by ensuring that the reward system is developed and managed to achieve equity, fairness, and consistency in all aspects of pay and benefits. Last is generally by advising on employee relations, procedures, processes, and issues that further good collective relationship. Next slide. Trust and the employment relationship. So, as defined by the Oxford English Dictionary, trust is a firm belief that a person may be relied on. An alternative definition has been provided by Shaw 1997 to the effect that trust is the belief that those on whom we depend will meet our expectations of them. So, trust is a fundamental pillar of any successful employment relationship. It's the foundation upon which open communication, collaboration, and mutual respect are built. When trust is present, both employers and employees feel confident in their interactions and are more likely to work together effectively towards shared goals. So, ito yung importance of trust ng employment relationship. Enhanced communication. Trust foster open and honest communication, allowing for the free flow of ideas, feedback, and concerns. When employees feel comfortable sharing their perspectives, employers can gain valuable insights and make informed decisions. Next is increased productivity. Trust leads to greater collaboration and teamwork. Employees who trust their employer are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and willing to go on the extra mile. This in turn boosts productivity and overall organization performance. Third is reduce conflict. Trust may Trust helps mitigate conflicts by creating a more understanding and supportive environment. Employees who trust their employer are less likely to perceive actions as malicious or unfair, leading to a reduction in disputes and grievances. Fourth, improve employee retention. Employees who feel trusted and valued are more likely to stay with their employer. Trust fosters loyalty and commitment, reduces employee turnover and the cost associated with it. Last is enhance employer brand. Organizations know for fostering trust among their employees, attract and retain top talent. A strong reputation for trust builds a positive employer brand, making the company a more desirable place to work. So, building trust in the employment relationship. First is open and transparent communication. Be open and honest with employees about company decisions, challenges, and future plans. Provide regular updates and encourage feedback. Second is fair and consistent treatment. Treat all employees fairly and consistently, regardless of their position or tenure. Ensure that policies and procedures are applied equitably. Third, nagkabaliktad. Empowerment and accountability. Empower employ Empower employees by giving them autonomy and responsibility, hold them accountable for their actions, but also provide support and guidance when needed. Yung fourth is respect leadership. Leaders should model respectful behavior and create a culture where employees feel valued and heard. Last is keep promises and acknowledge mistakes. So follow through on commitments and promises made to employees. This builds credibility and demonstrates reliability. Be willing to admit mistakes and take responsibility for them. This shows humility and commitment to learning and improvement. Last, next slide. So, for my conclusion, building and maintaining trust in the employment relationship is an ongoing process. It requires a conscious effort from both employers and employees. By prioritizing communications, fairness, respect, and accountability, organizations can foster a culture of trust that benefits everyone involved. This leads to a more productive, fulfilling, and sustainable work environment where employees feel valued, respected, and motivated to contribute their best. May I call the next reporter?
So now let's talk about the psychological contract. Next slide, please. So, psychological contract. Fundamentally, the psychological contract expresses the combination of beliefs held by an individual and his or her employer about what they expect of one another. It can be described as the set of reciprocal but unarticulated expectations that exist between individual employees and their employers. Within organizations, as Katz and Kahn pointed out, every role is basically a set of behavioral expectations. Meaning, yung psychological contract daw is isang mental agreement between employee and employer. Um, nag, it's it outlines the unspoken expectations and obligations they have for each other. So, the bounded rationality theory. The bounded rationality theory suggests that people's decision making is influenced by their emotions, leading to limited rationality. Employees and employers have unwritten expectations about their relationship, often based on fair treatment, job satisfaction, rewards, competence, growth opportunities, clear expectations, and feedback. Misunderstandings between these can lead to friction, stress, poor performance, and termination of employment. So dito, yung ibig sabihin lang niyan, yung emotions daw natin is may malaking impact sa decision making natin. So in psychological contract, nakaka-influence yun sa expectations and behavior ng employee or employer. Next slide please. So, the significance of psychological contract. As suggested by Spindler, a psychological contract creates emotions and attitudes which form and control behavior. The significance of the psychological contract was further explained by Sims as follows. A balanced psychological contract is necessary for continuing harmonious relationship between the employee and the organization. However, the violation of the psychological contract can signal to the participants that the parties no longer share or never shared a common set of values or goals. So dito naman, pino-point out lang nila na crucial yung psychological contract sa shaping ng emotions, attitudes, and behavior sa isang organization. And sinabi rin dito na kung mag-violate ka sa psychological contract, it can lead to dissatisfaction ng both parties. People who have no clear idea about what they expect may, if such unexpressed expectations have not been fulfilled, have no clear idea why they have been disappointed. But they will always be aware that something does not feel right. And the company is staffed by cheated individuals who expect more than they get is heading for trouble. Next slide, please. The importance of the psychological contract was emphasized Nakalimutan ko yung basa. By Shine, who suggested that the extent to which people work effectively and are committed to the organization depends on, number one, the degree to which their own expectations of what organization will provide to them and what they owe the organization in return match that organization's expectations of what will give and get in return. Number two, the nature of what is actually to be exchanged, assuming there is some agreement. Money in exchange for time at work, social need, satisfaction, and security in exchange for hard work and loyalty. Opportunities for self-actualization and challenging work in exchange for high productivity, high quality work, and creative effort in the service of organizational goals or various combinations of these and other things. So dito naman, if unclear daw yung expectations ng mga employees, it can lead to disappointment and dissatisfaction. Kahit na hindi nila alam kung ano talaga yung pinaka-cause. And dito rin sinabi rin nyo na kung dapat daw maging well-balanced yung psychological contract to ensure parties are getting what they need and contributing what is expected. Next slide po. So, the nature of psychological contract. Psychological contract is a system of beliefs that may not have been articulated. It compasses the actions, of employees' beliefs are expected of them and what response they expect in return from their employer. As, de- as described by Guest et al., it concerns with assumptions, expectations, promises, and mutual obligations. Dito naman, sinabi lang na parang kanina lang din. Kasi halos paulit-ulit lang tong sa psychological contract. So, psychological contract addresses employees' expectations and employers' obligations. It covers aspects like fairness, security, competence, career growth, involvement, trust, safety, and employer's perspective. And on the other hand, competence, effort, compliance, commitment, and loyalty naman on sa perspective ng employer. However, both parties may not fully understand the contract or its implications. So, dito, yung sa employee and employer's perspective, it's important to note that these elements are generally understood. There can be significant variations in how individuals and organizations perceive and interpret them. So, dito sinabi rin yung na misunderstanding can arise due to lack of communication, differing perspectives and changes in organization or industry. Next slide, please. How psychological contracts develop. Psychological contracts are not developed by means of a single transaction. There are many contract makers who exert influence over the whole duration of an employee's involvement with an organization. They are influenced by communication, action, and organizational culture. They can evolve over time and impact employee satisfaction, commitment, and performance. So dito, for us to develop psychological contracts, kailangan araw-araw mo siyang araw-araw mo siyang masasagupa or basta araw-araw mo siyang mararanasan. Ganon. Para mas mag-improve. So, psychological contracts can be unclear for both employees and employers. Employees may not have a clear understanding of their expectations or contributions, while employers may also be unsure about what they expect from their employees. This lack of clarity can lead to misunderstandings and disappointment. Due to the implicit nature of psychological contracts and unclear expectations, they often develop unintentionally with unexpected outcomes. Management actions or employee behavior can alter the contract. Dito, naririnig ko yung sarili ko. Dito naman, kapag parang kanina lang din to kasi sa lang to kapag ka mayroon kang unclear or hindi ka sure sa mga expectations mo, magkakaroon talaga ng conflict. Ganun lang po. So, next reporter na po. Thank you.
Ako na pala. So, the changing nature of the psychological contract. Many commentators have delivered warnings about changes to the psychological contract that are not all advantageous to employees. And the nature of the psychological contract is changing in many organizations in response to changes in their external and internal environments. This is largely because of the impact of global competition and the effect this has had on those businesses operating, including moves into lean forms of operation. So the psychological contract has not been an issue in the past because usually it did not change much. This is no longer the case because business organizations are neither stable nor long-lived. Uncertainty prevails. Job security is no longer on offer by employers who are less anxious to maintain a stable workforce. As Mervis and Hall point out, organizations are making continued employment explicitly contingent on the fit between people's competences and business needs. Flexibility, adaptability, and speed of response are all important, and individual roles may be subject to constant change. Continuity and predictability are no longer available for employees. Linear organization mean that careers may mainly develop laterally. Expectations that progress will be made by promotion through the hierarchy are no longer so valid. Linear organizations may make greater demands on employees and are less likely to tolerate people who no longer precisely fit their requirements. So, ang summary nun is, the psychological contract between employers and employees is changing due to global competition and the shift toward linear business operations. Unlike in the past, organizations are now less stable, with job security diminishing and employment increasingly contingent on an employee's fit with business needs. Flexibility and adaptability are becoming essential, and employees can no longer rely on predictable career progression or job continuity. The leaner organization also place greater demands on employees and are less likely to retain those who don't precisely meet their evolving requirements. Next. So, but more positively, some organizations are realizing that steps have to be taken to increase mutuality and to provide scope for lateral career development and improvement in knowledge and skills through opportunities for learning. They recognize that because they can no longer guarantee long-term employment, they have the responsibility to help people to continue to develop their careers if they have to move on. In other words, they take steps into improve employability. Even those that have fully embraced the corn peri concept may recognize that they still need to obtain of their core employees and pay attention to the commitment of to their continuous development. Although in most organizations, the emphasis is like to be on self-development. So ipapaikliin ko na lang. Wait lang. So organizations are changing their approach to the psychological contract with employees. While they can no longer offer long-term job security, many now focus on improving employee skills and employability. This includes providing opportunities or lateral career development and encouraging continuous learning. So Hilltop highlights a new psychological contract. Saan na ako? Where the relationship between employers and employees is more short-term and situational. Each party is less dependent on the other, with employees having more responsibility for their career development. In Britain, the employment contract tends... Nasaan na? So, in Britain, the employment contract tends to favor employers who view employees as easily replaceable resources. There has been a significant power shift towards employers, increasing the risk burden on employees and diminishing their negotiating power unless they are in high demands. So, ayun na. So they state of the psychological contract. But the dire warnings about the state of the psychological contract referred to above were not borne out by 3 research projects commissioned by the Institute of Personnel and Development. The research conducted by Guest et al. Established that the psychological contract was in better shape than many pundits suggest. A follow-up survey found that a very high proportion of employees believe that, on balance, they are fairly treated by their employers, and 79% say they trust management a lot or somewhat to keep its promises. Job security is not a major concern. 86% feel very or fairly secure in their jobs. A majority believe that management and workers are on the same side, and only 18% disagree. However, job satisfaction was only moderate, although commitment to the organization was high. Ayan, a further survey established that there had been no significant changes in attitudes and behavior since the previous survey. Workers continue to believe that they are fairly treated. 67% report fair treatment by manager, and 64% that they get fair days pay for fair days work. The number of progressive HRM practices in place is the key determinant of whether workers believe that they are fairly treated, because they avert a major influence on work attitudes. People report that home is for relaxation, work is for challenge. Feelings of secure remain high. 88% felt very or fairly secure in their jobs. And people still expect a career. 60% believe that their employer has made the career promise, and of these, 65% think that the management has largely kept its promise. Ayan. Ito yung graph niya. Ayun, thank you.
So yun, thank you for listening. Sana po may natutunan kayo. And Q&A is now open.